Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio is one of, if not the best theme park in the country. This past year, I was happily able to visit the park for the very first time and was able to get on almost every roller coaster there, other than two. The two being Wilderness Run because I'm too tall and it's a kiddie coaster, and the other being, well, yeah. Anyways, I see a lot of people have been doing a lot of rankings of their favorite roller coasters at Cedar Point, and I thought I'd share my opinion. If you disagree with my opinion, let me know in the comments, but please don't be a jerk about it because it's just not fun. Anyways, we're going to roll the intro. Before we get started, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it would mean a lot for me and it really helps this channel grow. Also, for those of you who don't know, I'm officially an artist on Spotify. If you want to listen to my song Thrasher, click the link in the description. Anyways, on to the list. Number 15, Corkscrew, an aerodynamics looping coaster. If you watch my POV of this coaster, you will know that I did not enjoy this ride at all. To be fair, the ride is almost 48 years old, so I'm sure that didn't help. But this ride is also only a week newer than Revolution at Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is much, much smoother. The only part of this ride that I for sure enjoyed was the weird airtime hill after the first drop. It wasn't comfortable, but it was kind of fun. Other than that, this ride is pretty much garbage. Also, for a ride called Corkscrew, you think the corkscrews would be fun. They are not. It is cool to look at, though. Number 14 is Woodstock Express, a Vekoma Junior coaster. There's not much to say about this. It's just your standard family coaster. It was a bit longer than most other family coasters that I've ridden, but it is pretty smooth. But other than that, there really isn't like a great moment on this ride, but it's just a family coaster, so it is what it is. Number 13 is Cedar Creek Mine Ride, an aerodynamics mine train. There's also not much to say about this coaster. It was definitely better than I thought it would be, but it was also kind of weird since most mine trains that I've ridden are terrain-based, like Gold Rusher at Six Flags Magic Mountain and Adventure Express at Kings Island. And this one is not terrain-based. It kind of just goes over itself, but there is a cool lake you go over. That is pretty cool. Other than that, it's not too special. Just if you go to the park, get the credit, and then go ride Steel Vengeance or Maverick. Number 12 is Rougarou, a B&M floorless coaster. This is an interesting roller coaster for sure. It used to be a stand-up coaster named Mantis, but then in 2015 they decided to upgrade the ride and give it floorless trains. The reason this ride is interesting is because there isn't really a standout element. Maybe the inclined loop, or maybe the brake run that kind of holds you at an angle if you're in the back row, kind of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 style. Let's just put it this way, I'd rather ride Scream at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Number 11 is Blue Streak, a PTC wooden coaster. As Cedar Point's oldest roller coaster, it's still pretty good. Maybe a little rough, but it is a wooden coaster from the 1960s, so there's only so much you could do. There's a little bit of airtime, which is appreciated, but it is pretty weak. Overall, this ride is pretty good, but it's definitely a dated coaster. Number 10 is Wild Mouse, a Zamperla Twister coaster. Oh look, it's the one Zamperla coaster that's actually open! Sorry, I'm still a little salty about Top Thrill 2. Anyways, this is by far the best Wild Mouse that I've ridden. Probably because it's not really like a Wild Mouse coaster. It's more like a spinning coaster, but it has a mouse theme. Anyways, the spinning really made this ride awesome along with some of the crazy turns. It was a battle to get this credit because it broke down the first 2 times I was in line, Zamperla being Zamperla. Then I had to wait an hour with no fast lane because there's just no fast lane for it for some reason. And then I finally got on it. But this ride was actually surprisingly good for a Wild Mouse. Number 9 is Iron Dragon, an aerodynamic suspended coaster. This one surprised me a little bit. I kept hearing how this ride is really boring and slow, but it was a lot better than that. It is definitely the slowest suspended coaster I've been on, and my lowest ranked as well, but still better than I thought it would be. I thought it would be kind of like a mild family coaster, but it was more like a mild thrill coaster, maybe? Anyways, the drops were straight, so the speed picked up a little bit better than I thought it would, and the swinging turns are as fun as usual, as all suspended coasters are. Definitely an underrated ride at the point. Number 8 is Gemini, an aerodynamics dueling hybrid coaster. Had I only ridden this once, I would have ranked this lower than Blue Streak, maybe even lower than Rougarou. The reason I do have this ranked up higher is because the blue side is much smoother than the red side. Also, I find it weird that 3 aero coasters at Cedar Point have very powerful and kind of painful airtime moments. The drops in the back row in this ride are a little bit unhinged and very janky, but kind of fun. The lap bars are a little bit staple happy, and the pacing is a little weird with those turns. But other than that, this ride is really fun and really janky. I do wish I rode this a third time, but there was other great coasters to ride. Hopefully they keep Gemini around, so next time I go to Cedar Point, I can get a third ride and see if it really is good or bad. Number 7 is Valraven, a B&M dive coaster. I know most people consider dive coasters to be one-trick ponies, and well, yeah, they are kind of right. This one I feel like offers a little bit more than just one trick. It's 3 tricks. That being the first drop, which is awesome, the drop off the mid-course, awesome, and the last inversion where he gets some hang time, awesome. The vest restraints are not awesome though. They are very uncomfortable, especially if you have long hair and you try pulling them down, it will pull your hair. So if you have long hair, make sure you wear a hair tie before you pull your vest restraint down. Other than that, this ride is still very cool. Definitely better than I thought it would be. Number 6 is Gatekeeper, a B&M wing coaster. This is one of the smoothest and most graceful roller coasters that I've ever ridden. It's also just really cool to look at, especially at the park entrance with the keyholes. Oh, it's so cool. Speaking of which, the near-miss elements on those are really something to behold. But I think the best part is the wing overdrop, whether the slow roll in the front or the awesome whip you get in the back. It's really awesome. The main complaint I have with this ride is that the vest restraints suck as always, and they'll staple you if you don't hold it up, and that kind of stinks, and that the ride kind of dies after the mid-course. Other than that, this is a really awesome ride. Number 5 is Raptor, a B&M inverted coaster. First off, this has the best Cobra roll on any roller coaster that I've ever ridden. The whip is insane. Also, while this is one of the best inverts in the country, it is a little bit overrated. Call me crazy, but I like Silver Bullet and Knott's Berry Farm better. That doesn't mean I dislike Raptor though. The drop in the back row is crazy, the corkscrews are awesome as always on inverts, and the helix pulls some serious trees, and of course, the Cobra roll. My least favorite part of this ride is definitely that awkward turn into the brakes, but between all the crazy forces and the whip this ride pulls, it's just spectacular. Number 4 is Millennium Force, an Intamin Giga Coaster. Weirdly enough, this is one of the few coasters that I prefer to ride in the front rather than the back. It's mostly due to the sheer speed you get on this ride. Also, the airtime is much more sustained in the front. There also is a very noticeable rattle in the back row that I don't notice in the front, so that kind of takes a few points away from the back row. But other than that, this ride is just awesome from start to finish. The drop is crazy, the overbanks are a little redundant, but they do pull some serious G's. Gotta love Millennium Force. Number 3 is Maverick, an Intamin Blitz coaster. This is one of the most well-rounded coasters that I've ever ridden. It has everything. Strong airtime? Check. Whip? Check. Launch? Check. Launch, lift hill? Check. Beyond vertical drop? Check. Bad restraints? Check-a-roni. The only thing this ride lacks is a good inversion. The twisted horseshoe roll is kind of weak in my opinion. If Maverick didn't have the over-shoulder restraints, this would probably be number 2 in the park. The restraints aren't that bad except in the whippy moments like the stangle dives and the switchbacks. The best part of this ride is either the drop, the airtime hill, or the launch out of the tunnel. This ride is just so awesome. Number 2 is Magnum XL200, an aerodynamics hypercoaster. This ride really shouldn't be this fun, but it is. I mean, sure, it's rough and it has some weird transitions, but the airtime is pure bliss. This ride offers the most powerful airtime that I've ever experienced, and probably the most powerful airtime I'll ever experience. Admittedly, the first half is kind of weak, but let's be honest, the only reason everyone loves Magnum so much or hates Magnum so much is the finale. It's just so much airtime. Who the heck thought triangle-shaped airtime hills would be okay? They're not okay. They are awesome, but they hurt. They hurt a lot. They really hurt. They hurt, but it's so much fun. Also, hold on to the restraint, because if you do not hold on to your restraint, it will hurt even more. This is from personal experience. Also, most of the time in the back row, it gives really strong and kind of painful floater airtime. But the last ride I got on it gave me really, really, really powerful ejector airtime. You can hear in the video where I'm just like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh yeah, but also oh no. Also, if it wasn't for X2 just being X2, this would be my favorite aero coaster that I've ever ridden, but it has to settle for number 2. Number 1 is Steel Vengeance, an RMC hyper hybrid coaster. Big shocker, right? I mean, when there's a ride that has the most airtime on any roller coaster ever, it has to be good. And it is. It's just non-stop airtime in all forms from start to finish. Floater, ejector, freaking sideways airtime, plus you get a few floaty and whippy inversions as well. Also, the 90-degree drop in the back row is amazing. Only problem with this ride is the bugs at night in the front row. Anyways, my favorite part of this ride is either the Outer Bank airtime hill, the sideways airtime hill, or the finale. It probably is the finale because it's just a non-stop brigade of airtime hills, meaning you get lots of airtime, even more airtime, maybe even some airtime thrills. Wait a second. And that's the countdown. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. I post lots of coaster and metal related videos on this channel. If you're interested in System of a Down, I'm in the middle of doing a video series where I'm playing every song recorded by them. Anyways, like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Peace.